I wrote something about the inner vows we make as children that often stick with us into adulthood, and I wanted to read it to you. When I was very young, I made a silent promise to myself, a kind of inner vow that I would protect my younger sister from emotional harm. I didn't have the language for it at the time, but I felt it deeply. I never want her to experience what I'm experiencing now. Let it fall on me instead. This was one of my first inner vows. At the time, our home life was kind of complicated. There were dynamics I didn't fully understand, but I could sense when emotions were about to erupt. And I learned very quickly that if I could sense them early, maybe I could stop them. Maybe I could keep the peace. So I became the buffer, the emotional translator, the little peacekeeper. And without knowing it, I also became extremely burdened and hypervigilant. I learned to scan the room, step in when I felt something was off, filter my words, and absorb emotions that weren't mine to carry, all in the name of love and protection. Inevitably, in time, that burden was too much, and emotionally, the sadness spilled over into hours of tears and frustration, often in isolation. But here's what I know now. What starts as protection can become a prison. What begins in love can turn into self-erasure. And children shouldn't have to be the ones holding the emotional weight of adults. What it taught me is that I wasn't too sensitive, I was deeply attuned. This was one of the birthing moments of my empathy. But this empathy came from survival, and that's both beautiful and heartbreaking. As an adult, I've had to learn how to lay that burden down. I still have strong desire to care for others, but now I try to ask, is this my responsibility or is this my reflex? If you've spent your life trying to manage the emotional climate of every room, I want you to know that that's not your burden to carry. And if you know this, but you don't know how to stop, please know that you are not broken and you don't need to be fixed. You were just trained, programmed, quietly and unintentionally to believe safety and peace depended on you. And this kind of core belief keeps you captive in this behavior. But now you get to unlearn that. You get to be safe with yourself.